The webinar has started.
Mr. Ridgely, you are looking sharp, my brother. And look at both of us. We have collars on today, Ridge.
And I'm telling you, it's like, what's up with that? It's the summertime. Why do we got collars on? Eh? I
There you
don't know.
go.
I don't know.
All right. Linda says, look at you.
Yeah.
Well, welcome everybody. We'll give everybody a minute to come in. So, Ridgely, I heard it was a little hot down there. And as a matter of fact, too hot from your brother who's not used to the coastal heat.
Dude, it was yesterday with the heat index 111. Okay. Now that is ridiculous.
And I
So
guess it's not exactly the same as it back in Kansas. Tell us what happened to your brother.
we went out to cut down some trees for my mom, our mom, and ended up with heat stroke. Crashed out in the bed, man. Like done for the
Yeah.
afternoon. So
Yeah, he admitted to me that he overdid it a little bit in the heat.
yes, he did. He did indeed. So it is
All
what it
right,
is,
so
man. You gotta
welcome.
pay attention.
Exactly. Welcome everybody. Hey Vicky, hey Linda, Jim, how are you? David, Kurt, still with the long distance attendance record.
Yep, for sure. All right, man. So we're talking about websites in the modern age.
Yes. We are talking about websites in the modern age, but Jim wants to know where was the heat from and what's happening. So you better fill him in on the details. This is down in Pensacola, Florida.
Yep. It's all
And
across Florida, man. It's ridiculous. It's just stupidly hot up here. And but here's the thing. Here's the thing. It is almost August, and we have yet to have a hurricane this season. So maybe, it's a balancing thing. Too much dust from the Sahara Desert, keeping stuff. Uh,
exactly.
I mean, to me, that's mind-boggling, right? That the hurricanes are influenced largely by the Sahara Desert sand and dust going up into the thing, up into the air, and go crossing the Atlantic Ocean to then get to the Caribbean Sea to then create a hurricane. Wow.
Exactly. Yes, but don't forget the whole butterfly effect thing. Okay, folks, so let's jump right in. This topic about building a website and website design originally has changed very much with the advent of AI. Okay. And not in how you think of it. You may say, oh, there are AI tools. Now I can do this. It can generate me a website, this, that, and the other thing. The real issue, I coach a lot of people through building their websites, as you know, originally. And the real issue is that because of AI, things have turned on its head. It used to be before AI that the number one issue was I don't know what to put on my website. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. I don't have copy. I'm not a copywriter, blah, 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 right? So we would always struggle with helping people produce copy for their website. And a website assignment typically was like a writing assignment, right?
Hmm.
More often than not. Now with AI, and now with all the prompts that we teach and the approaches to communication and to make it limbic and emotional and everything else, now we have the opposite problem, Rich. Now we have too many headlines, too many compelling messages, too much copy. Type in any niche, type in what you do, type in where you do it, hit boom, and suddenly you have acres and acres of content. So now the exact opposite is in effect, and we have too much copy to curate. Okay. So that's all the content layer. I'm less concerned about that. We cover that every single week. We teach people how to differentiate between good copy and bad copy, fluffy stuff and not, how to optimize it for the search engines, everything else. Very important. But Ridge, we never talk about what do you do with it after. So just to recap to everybody, typically, I do the website design. Ridgely generally wrangles the copy. Okay. Typically, Ridgely, what is the output vehicle? What do you hand off to me and what does it look like typically?
Um, on a brand new build or on a refresh?
Either. Either. The answer is a Google Doc. And what's in this Google Doc?
A bunch of limbic messages, limbic treatments, limbic statements, um, and some output from the docs, but not much.
Right, exactly. And it's all just like blobbed onto a Google Doc.
Correct.
Okay. Now the challenge is now everybody, when they hear that a professional gets handed this as well, it's like where all of us on this call are. You have all of this stuff that you went and played around with AI, and you have snippets of text, and you pick from the best. Now you have all of this stuff, and now it's like, all right, what do I do in terms of a website? Right. Okay. So now to make this lively, is there anybody in the chat that would like to join us for this discussion to talk about their website or in need of redoing a website? Anybody that would love to jump on a hot seat? Let's actually, instead of talking theoretical, Ridgely, let's actually advise one of our members as to how to, spiff up the website or create a new website for a new project. So if anybody wants to raise their hand and jump on, either have us review a website that they recently did, or one that they're working on, or one that they need to work on. Right. And so we'll
Well,
give those. Yep. Go ahead, Rich.
do we do we want to talk a little bit before we dive in specifically? Do we want to talk a little bit at all about the new AI requirements for websites, or is that going to be part of your dialogue?
It's going to be part, but the reason why I tend not to dive into that too early is because you and I are into the mastery and the subtlety. It
Hmm.
doesn't exactly help if you're starting from a blank sheet of paper. Even this new web team that we're working with, and they're very talented and they build a lot of websites. I purposely didn't burden them with too much at the very beginning. And I wanted to have them come and do their first cut and then tweak it, as opposed to like giving them all of this stuff at the beginning. Right. All right. So David dropped in the chat and raised his hand. So let's bring David on, please, Ridge. And
Okay.
I'll read the chat here. So actually here, Ridgely, the long distance competition is still alive and well. So as we know, Kurt is in South Africa,
Hmm.
and Vicki joined and said, "Hi, London, UK." So now we have two people vying, but as far as my geography is concerned, South Africa is still further away from you and I than.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, so
Okay. All right.
and
So we have a David, and he says, "I'm about to redo a website, nova-heal.clinic." All right. So David, are you willing to come on camera? Otherwise, you can stay on voice. You let us know. Otherwise, and you are muted, so you'll need to unmute yourself. Hey, David.
Hey,
Oh, it's our David. David, long time no see. Hope you're
yeah,
been
well.
a while, man. Good to
I
see
know.
you.
I'm so glad I came 2 weeks ago when you first started did you know the AI stuff.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm about to completely redo this website that you had put some input about a year ago,
Oh, okay. Well,
limbic
good.
wise, but not AI wise.
Okay, cool. And this is so now bear with us because you're ahead of the game, having started this a while ago. So bear with us while I introduce some foundational concepts for some people that are um, building straight from scratch. And then also just a heads up, originally after we speak to David and help David, Vicky would like to come on too to discuss her website
Okay,
as well. So this
good.
is good. We got plenty of volunteers for the hot seats today. That's great. Okay, so let me share my screen and talk to you all about where I typically like to start. Okay. So I typically start, and I advise everybody to do this. So I'm going to share. All right. So if you ever watch a design show, okay, they always say, "What's your inspiration?" Meaning they want to be given some examples to kind of vibe off of and so forth. Okay. And so, David, tell us, what is the space that you're in? What is the niche again?
Okay, we're launching stem cell medical clinics,
Okay.
and stem cells actually cure the underlying cause, which is the big idea for lasting relief.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's good. That's great. Okay, thank you. Now, my first step is always to do a competitive analysis, just to kind of see, not from a content perspective, but to kind of see what the vibe is in terms of what the sites look like. Okay. So here's a first result, stem cells therapy nyc.com. Let me go and click. Okay. So all right, so we're gonna play a little game here. Ridgely, David, myself, we're gonna react to what we see. Okay. And when I see a website design, the first question I always advise people to say right away is it modern or not so modern? So originally, and David, look at this site, and is it modern or not so modern? Just throw it out there.
Not so modern, but there's no
Exactly.
headline.
Right. Well, there's all kinds of, it's a feeling and a vibe that's will
Mhm.
define from a design sense, but not so modern. Okay, so let's go back. Let's click
But
the
there's no
second one.
focus.
Yep. Okay. Now this guy here, NYU Langone, is a hospital, NYU Medical Center, and this one, this result landed in a deep landing page. Okay, so now originally, here's an example where without a fat footer, this post, this article, does not serve as a mini website. We deep
Correct.
landed into a page, and you're just in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so that's 2 strikes already. The next one's a college, so let's skip that. It's probably going to be the same. Let's check this guy out. Thomas Urn, MD, stem cell therapy, New York City. Okay, here we go. Okay, modern or not so modern?
A little better, but still outdated.
Exactly. Right. So already, guys, we're halfway down the page. You and I can build a website today that'll be slicker, nicer, better content, and probably rank better than all of these guys that we've looked at so far. Okay. All right. So
No,
now
but when you say modern, that's your goal.
no, it's not. But perception is reality. And if it's not modern and people land on it, they're going to be like, should I even look at this? Did they,
Okay.
is this old? Meaning, like that first one that we looked at probably
Dated.
has some good stuff on here, but it's a little dated. And if their
Yes.
website's dated, stem cell is supposed to be cutting edge. Why is a cutting edge technology on the kind of a dated look, right? Okay, so we're gonna stop looking at those. And oops, now I'm gonna go to here and I'm gonna use, okay, so I'm not endorsing any particular tool. I'm just kind of using this particular interface to kind of show you how to think about the parts of a website, okay? So there are tools out there that kind of let you visualize a page, or you can even use AI, right? But typically at the top of the page, you want to put what's called a hero section. Okay, a hero section is like a graphically rich, splashy kind of a look that you would put here. So some of the typical hero sections for an inside page, for example, would be something like this, right? So it's simply a pretty picture with some messaging, okay? And typically what we advise is this smaller font is descriptive for SEO purposes, and then we like you to put, a limbic message, an emotionally resonant, we believe in type of message here, okay? So that would be for an interior page. Now here's a trick as well. I always build my interior pages first, and I build my home page last. The reason? It's very intimidating to try to build a complete homepage, especially if that's where you're starting to think about your website. A homepage, Ridgely and David, is actually where you summarize the rest of your website. If you haven't thought about the rest of your website yet, why would you start with the summary of the homepage? So I always say, folks, let's deal with some of the interior pages first. Let's figure out what should go where. Let's figure out the navigation. By the time they're happy with how the inner pages look, and the inner pages by their nature are simpler, right? Then the home page will pretty much build itself. Okay. So anyway, this is a interior hero section. A more typical homepage type section might be something like this. Okay. Now you've all seen this where there's a lavish picture and you have, messaging here. Let's go to some real examples now. Let's go to one of our dental sites. Okay. Hamilton Lakes Dentistry. Okay. So now this is a very personality driven practice. So we had a nice picture of the ladies. There's an all female practice of dentists right outside of Chicago. And so
I can go there.
yeah, David's volunteering to check it out. Okay, so you deserve something different, and here's the number. Okay, so again, the partner attraction formula. Originally, can you drop on the folks what the partner attraction formula is, the 3 steps?
Limbic messaging plus making sure it's client or patient-centric copy and clear calls to action.
Yes. So I did a 2-for-1 special originally. I gave them a limbic message, but I put it in the you deserve form to make it immediately patient-centric, right? You deserve something different. Now, this looks very simple, but the messaging is very powerful because we did our homework and we asked, what makes you guys special? What's your unique selling proposition? And let's put that forward first, right? It turns out not only is it all the doctors female, but all the staff is female. This is literally an all practice woman powered type of practice, right? And so this is definitely something different. And then now as you go down, because your smile matters, here's some text, here's more pictures, here's a welcome, here's video, and so on and so forth. Okay, now, excuse me. Look what I'm doing. As I'm scrolling down the website, you see how a website is comprised of horizontal sections? You see how we go from a white section to a blue section? We call these slices. And you go to this slice, and you go to this slice, right? So again, with that in mind, let's start from the top. You have this navigation slice. You have this hero slice section. Then you have this text section with text in a picture. Then you have this section with a video. And you have this section with an image and limbic messaging, and on either side. The reason why I'm bringing that out is don't be intimidated by trying to figure out the whole page at a time. Figure out a panel at a time, okay? And I'll prescribe to you what kind of panels belong on what kind of pages, right? But you're not looking to tackle an entire web page. You can tackle a panel. We've all worked on PowerPoint slides. You all can design a particular slide. Think of this as a stacked series of compelling slide messages, and they're stacked on top of each other, and it makes a great website, right? Otherwise, you get too intimidated, and you're thinking, oh my God, how do I design this whiz-bang site? Okay, now, going back to this tool here, the reason why this kind of slice idea works is, let's actually build an interior page, and I'll show you how that goes. So let's go back again to an interior page here. Let's pick this one. We'll drop that here. Okay, we took care of the top slice. Now we're going to do another one. Now we're going to go and let's say we're going to put something like, let me go here, find something like this. Okay, general, this kind of a thing. Okay, and I'm dragging this slice down here now. Now, a slice has multiple regions on it. A slice, a horizontal section, has columns. In this case, it has 2 columns. Okay, and then you decide, okay, well, what goes in the columns? Well, let's put text here, and let's put pictures here. And then let's put an action button here. Now, again, the reason why I'm using this tool is because I just happen to know that this tool puts in what we call lorem ipsum. This is this placeholder text, right? Lorem ipsum dolor, it's a fake language. Okay? It's just a place to kind of envision what you want to do. Again, content is no longer an issue. We've actually used, our prompting techniques to create all the text that we want to put on there. So back to David. So David, like you're fairly happy with the text copy, because I know you pay a lot of attention to the copy. So you're probably at the stage where you're pretty happy with the copy, but your challenge is now how to like display it on a web page. Is that true?
Yeah, and I was using a clunky tool. This was actually used to get my trademark approval with the trademark office. So it wasn't really meant for consumers. That was the next step. And I'm about to relaunch now with your latest AI input.
Awesome. That's great. And so this is immediately applicable to you then, because now you have a library of copy that you've vetted. You've even gone and copyrighted certain stuff based on it. Now the challenge is how to lay it out. So Ridgely, does it make sense to you and make you feel better when I say it's like designing a PowerPoint slide? Like this panel right here, if I say, okay, here's an idea of a layout, get some pictures that are relevant to your theme, make them emotional, put them on this side in this format, and then come up with some of your top text, put a call to action, a limbic message, a call to action, and a button. Like, you can do this if you wanted to originally in PowerPoint. So now suddenly this is like a doable thing. right? And then so now you go and say, okay, well now what do I do? Well, let me put in something like
Hubert, what's the
this.
name of the tool you use?
This one's a wireframe builder from Superfly. I don't necessarily love it, but it's kind of cool for playing around. But what you could also do is you could also if you go to divi.express, okay, divi.express. Oh, why is that not working? DPS www dot. Oh, because I'm typing it wrong. It should be Divi, Divi dot express, and that's a theme. Okay, there are theme layout sites where you can go and look at for ideas. Okay, so let's actually explore one of these together. Okay, so well, actually, let's look for something medical since let's see, health. Okay, since you're doing medical. All right, so let's do this one. Grow your hair back. That's too personal for me. Let's do let's do
That's
enhancing
your
your new
best
natural
joke of it today.
Yeah.
There you go. All right. Okay. So originally modern or not modern?
I mean, better.
Okay.
I think this is cleaner.
Okay. Then let's go to one that you're happy with that you would say it's modern. Let's go to here. All right. Okay. Now, you guys heard what David and Ridgely were saying about modern or not modern. What's striking them, I believe, in terms of modernity in a website design is if it has lots of white space, if there's room to breathe, if there's like this, and now that you know to think about this in terms of panels, look at this. They're presenting ideas per panel. The path to flawless skin, that's a panel. How do you know you're in a new panel? The color background changes. Now it's like discover radiance with our products. And now you have this product, this product, this product. And you go down. Now you start seeing a picture and there's lots of white space and you can, open up accordion sections. What we do. And again, this is just a mock-up, right? And then here's a video. Now this has much more originally of a modern sensibility to it. And it's because the fonts are big. There's lots of white space. Things are told in terms of pictures and scanning. You can open up sections and so forth, right? So the color choice is nice. So this is like a nice modern layout. So what you're going to want to do is browse a layout site like divi.express and kind of get a sense as to what you like and don't like, right? So like, do you want like an emotional picture? So originally come up with something on the fly of like, instead of premium dental care, what would be a limbic message here that would go with this picture?
We believe in Hollywood smiles.
There you go. Right? Do you see the difference between premium dental care and we believe in Hollywood smiles? Right? And so that's the magic when it comes to the copy. The magic when it comes to the layout is to cheat and go into a layout library like this and find something that you want your website to look like. And once you find that, then the next trick is to kind of model it out using a tool like this to kind of go and choose the parts. As you choose the parts, what's going to happen is that you become conversant in the language of the parts, right? So these sections, these different sections here, like these are all different examples of feature sections or footer sections, right? So let me just grab the footer now and put the footer down here. And then let me reorder
Hey,
this.
Hubert, I'm
Yes?
sorry. What was the name of this tool, literally? I like it. Because it does.
Be Superfly. Superfly.com.
Okay,
/
great.
theme builder, right? Be Superfly. And it's just something to play with. But look what we've done here already. We've done one slice here, 1, 2, 3, and in the footer, 4. Now, in the 10 seconds that it would take you to drag the parts, you've now completed a whole page. So originally, if you had a template like this to go with, you would then take that big mess of a Google Doc and say, okay, for interior page number 2, let's decide what this section title should be. Let's map in what this text is. Let's put a button here and then do the same for this panel and do for this and put it in the footer. And suddenly you have like a pretty dang nice page, right?
I have a question for Ridgely.
Yes. Okay.
Ridgely, when you do the copy, do you actually start to organize it like for my website is what conditions do we treat? How do we treat it? Who we are? Do you organize it that way, or you just stream of AI and you turn it
Well,
over to Hubert?
um, generally speaking, what I'm finding now, and this is a shift from what it used to be, because the answer to your question is in the old days, it was more flowing. Now I spend more time on the prompts and on educating the tool about what I want before I hit go. And so I will use prompt creator or some form like that, or even just a simple, hey, I'm writing a website about this and this, take in the following data, and then create a small knowledge base. And then with that, I'll spend time saying, I need a 5-page website with the basic fundamental pages on it. Ask me any questions you need to ask me to make the output phenomenal. And then I will have the tool talk to me back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until the tool says I have enough. And then I'll hit go and I'll get a draft. And then I'll start working with the draft. But the difference between the old days and today is I spend way more time educating AI about the subject and about what I'm trying to accomplish than just jumping in with a blank slate of paper and starting to write. Hubert,
Great.
Yes,
Thank you.
and nowadays with the advances in AI, so what you're asking, David, there's a actual discipline for this. I was fortunate enough to be along the cutting edge of like people building this discipline back when I used to be a creative director for an agency in the heyday of like web design building and stuff like that. And this was in New York City. The whole information architecture space and user experience space. So they call it information architecture or user experience, is now available to you by bringing up ChatGPT and saying, act as an experienced information architect and help me decide on the navigation for my stem cell website. What pages would you recommend? And then it would give out a structure, and then you would take your existing content and say, help me decide what content should go on what page. Meaning all this sorting and information architecture and foundational building used to be left up to the web developer. The writer would come up with all the text and say, here you go, and give you this big blob. Now, when Ridgely gives me stuff, it's actually sectioned off by page. And that's because now Ridgely has the tools that actually think like an information architect and help create these buckets, right? Ridgely's big trick always in writing is don't start from a blank page. Now with AI, you literally not only don't start with a blank page, but you start off with expertise that you ask for. Act as a user experience expert, act as a dental clinic marketer, act as a, product developer for a stem cell research company, right? And so you get highly tuned information. And so I hope that answers your question. But let me go back to this tool here. The information that you would want to put on these interior pages now comes to this. Okay, so now let's jump ahead a little bit. Let's say that you fiddle around with these blocks, you look at your content, you inventory everything, you come up with a navigation structure. And now let's say you have 10 interior pages, okay? And now it's time to think about the home page, okay? Now it becomes easy because you look at your 10 pages. One is, about the company. One is about our solutions. One is how to contact us and get started. One is download a white paper, okay, whatever it is. And one is the team. Meet, the president, David, and his minions and everything else. Okay, so now, and another one is the blog. Okay, so like, the blog might look something like like this. Okay, so now the blog page, here's the blog page and blah blah blah, whatever. Okay, now the value of this tool, by the way, when and I think it was Linda that mentioned this, she found it helpful that there aren't actual pictures here. This is we call this a wireframe. It's purposefully a low fidelity rendering, meaning it's a little mind hack and we don't get hung up on the individual pictures. We know that these are placeholders, right? We know that the text are placeholders, the titles are placeholders, and even the photos are placeholders. That means we can concentrate and project our own content on here and work with navigational and structural elements rather than get hung up on specific pictures, right? So if you bring this over here, now suddenly you have, this kind of a panel, like maybe this is the page for our solutions. Maybe there are 6 solutions, whatever. Okay. Now you have the layout of the site and you have a navigational structure. Now, when it's time to build the home page, what do? Let's just start from the beginning. And let's go to the hero section. I'm going to put in a nice hero. And so now our hero, okay, so let's go for more of a traditional thing. Okay, so imagine that this is the home page and you come up with some great limbic headline and whatever. And back over here, there's a picture of a vibrant, healthy person because they did stem cell therapy or whatever. Okay. And then you now want to put in elements on your homepage. You don't sit and start from scratch. You build from your palette of pages. So this presents the problem or the solution or whatever, then you want to do the solutions. So now the solutions would be like information that you have from your solutions page, right? And so maybe your solutions were these guys here about the different bullets of whatever. Okay, so let me switch that.
So it'd be something like, we believe in treating the cause of neuropathy so you have your life back. And it would show a picture of a grandmother and their grandkids playing on the carpet.
Exactly. Right. And then you agitate the problem. You do all these normal like copywriting, rules and so forth. But then now you want to bring in the content from your other pages. So if you had a team, where was that team? Where was the team one? Let me just go to the team. Here we go. The team member page. So now you bring in the team members down here. Okay. And then, so here are the team members, and then the contact, and I'm just shortcutting now, but let's say that opt-in for the white paper that you wanted to offer. Okay, so let me go here and put in the opt-in for the white paper, meaning the panels on the home page build itself from the highlights of the contents of the rest of the pages. That's why I said go build your pages first, then come back and do the home page, because it's merely organizing the content. If you haven't thought about the content yet, it's going to be practically impossible to put together a home page without like making yourself insane. Right? Is that helpful, David? Like,
yeah.
people
So
that
each
build
slice
yes,
is the summary of an interior page.
correct. Exactly. And suddenly now, if you have a formula like this, you know how to approach it. Right.
Yeah.
So,
No, this is excellent.
oh, good. I'm glad. It's because
Yeah.
it's not hard if you have like an approachable way to handle it, because otherwise, how do you come up with something like, let's just go and choose another one, right? Let's just go back and choose a random, let's just jump into a different niche, and we're gonna bring Vicki on in a minute to see what her niche is. But
I have one
so,
question, Hubert.
yeah.
Last section, you had a whole structured way of eliciting content. I forgot the acronym you used. It was like show it, prove it, credential it. It had a whole list of, where does that come in between you and Ridgely?
I think he's talking EEAT, QB.
Yes. Okay. EEAT, that's an overriding framework and objective for how Google decides whether or not your content is is worth. Yeah,
I see. So you would take
ranking.
Ridgely's proposed copy and you'd go through that sorting framework to optimize it for Google?
Yes. Okay. So again, EEAT stands for experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Okay. Now you have to. Now, by the way, there's. I don't have a copy of it, but there is a Google internal manual for when they do manual reviews that's based on EEAT. And look, it says it's a framework used by Google's search quality raters. These are actual humans that occasionally are called in to make sure a site is legitimate. How they determine it is whether or not, EEAT principles are there. Okay, so the experience example, a person writing a product review based on the product themselves, or a patient sharing a story about a medical treatment. So if you can, in your content, project to the patient level what the difference of your specific treatment may be, that's a sign of like experience, right?
Mhm.
And even better yet, when the company is launched and you start getting some testimonials, the testimonials hit experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, right? So expertise is the knowledge or skill level. So if you're working with doctors, you really need to put their credentials on there, or the scientists or whatever. So
Yep.
you, right? Authoritativeness, it's citations, backlinks, mentions. This is harder to get, but it comes over time as the company matures and you get more backlinks. That's how you build the reputation and authority. Then trustworthiness is a sign of, these are some of these technical things. You always have to make sure that you're running HTTPS. That's a secure thing. You always want to credit, if there are blog articles, credit the author, make sure there's a privacy policy, and that sort of thing. Okay. But the bottom line is that EEAT is important for SEO. Okay. But not only that, it's important for, good reception by the reader. Okay. So really Google, and Ridgely, you tell me, hasn't Google done a good job of aligning how it ranks websites with what's good for the consumer? It really has done a good job on that.
100%, because it's wiping out those people who are trying to game the system by using cheap content, cheap meaning either spun up and repeated multiple times, or only AI driven without human intervention, or duplicated by a template, etc.
That's exactly right. That's excellent. Okay, so David, I hope that helps. I want to give Vicki a chance to come on too. So Ridgely, keep David on, but can you also bring on Vicki, please?
Yep.
Tremendous. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, David. It's great to see you. Thank you for joining the hot seat.
Yep.
Okay, so while you're bringing on there, let's check the chat. Okay, so hi Vicki, how are you? Hold on for a second. I just want to read some chats here. Okay, so we're going back here. Linda said, this is so helpful. Not having interference of graphics and language helps me visualize better. Thank you. So that's great. Kenny says, good info. Thanks, David. Yep. Thank you for volunteering, David. All right. Bill, good to see you. Great stuff, he said. Kenny asked, does the export layout format to WordPress or other sites? The answer is yes. I'm actually looking at templates in this demo for a theme that it's become our favorite WordPress theme, and we use it all the time. And every time we build a website for our clients, we use it because it's just so easy for them to manage directly. It's called Divi, D-I-V-I. It's a very popular theme. And so you can actually, once you settle on a theme, you can look at theme layouts and examples, and then that will directly be exportable to your specific WordPress theme. Okay. Linda says, what you're sharing today would have cost thousands of dollars to receive from an agency. Thank you, Linda. That's kind of you. You're the agency and so generous in sharing. Thank you. Yep, Vicki commented EEAT. That's so helpful to know. Oh, David, a message from Linda. Linda said, thank you, David, for bringing your project to us today. Wishing you the best as you create this new site. Okay, awesome. All right, let's unmute Vicki. Now, Vicki, you tell us what niche you're in and where are you with your website?
So I'm in the world of health, integrative health for CEOs, business owners, stressed out people who secretly struggle with addiction, whether it's alcohol, food, gambling, or other things. And I help them to recognize that those aren't actually the problem, but they are the solution. And I get to the root of what actually is the problem.
Well, that's awesome. So, Ridgely, you and I have this debate once in a while. So let's just have it, because I think it'll help Vicki. So, Vicki, we often ask, do you put your content forth? I'm not asking you. I'm just saying one could take one of two routes. Okay. And I'm asking Ridgely, would it be more effective to dwell on the problem and agitate the pain of the problem, Ridgely? Or is it better to be more aspirational and show how Vicky's solution solves the problem and shows the people in a happy state? Meaning, do you play on the negativity and show people like, oh, I'm so unhappy, blah, 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 and agitate that? Or do you show them like the after? Like where you and I switched back and forth originally on this, so I'd like to hear your latest.
I do both. I would do both. And there are lots of ways of doing it, right? You can use your hero section as a very inspirational, aspirational, positive, but right below it, do you suffer from whatever, right? Stuff, and hit those pain points that cause people to actually do something. Because most people, the pain is generally what's going to drive an action of some kind, right? They're going to do something because of a pain. So I want to point it out to them. Are you part, or do you feel that you have this problem? Do you do this? Are you suffering from this thing? Da 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 da. Guess what? There may be a way. But the thing is, and here's the tough part. I don't feel in today's world that unless you're building regular value with an audience, that they're going to be particularly responsive. In other words, one thing that I believe is still true, and it is what Google is saying about search engines and AI engines and whatever, and that is that content is still king. And we need an editorial calendar that goes out and provides value on a continuous basis, so that people build that know, like, and trust factor, and then they want to do things with you. And I think it's really important.
So typically that comes in the form of blog posts or social media posts or newsletters. Tell us, Vicki, what you're doing now or what you intend to do in terms of that kind of an engagement once you capture somebody's attention. Do they sign up with you with some sort of a list or something?
Yes. So all of those things you mentioned, I do.
Excellent.
I have a blog. It's a monthly blog on my website that also goes out on LinkedIn as a newsletter. It's a variation of that. I have a weekly newsletter that goes out to people who've subscribed to my list. I have a weekly podcast. I post on LinkedIn on a daily basis, and on Facebook pretty much 3 to 5 times a week, I would say. So
That's excellent.
kind of what I'm doing at the moment. But
So-
what I'm wanting to do on the website,
Yes.
and why I jumped on this opportunity, is my niche has shifted slightly into more working with professionals and CEOs, particularly lawyers and dentists. Now, I don't want to call them out specifically, but that is who I am more focused on serving at the moment. And I'm wanting to put a video, which I have the video ready to go, but I don't really know where to put it. And this is where getting some kind of feedback on what's already there and what you suggest could be scrapped or overhauled would be cool.
So I'm a big fan of, if it's the right video, putting the video right up front as soon as possible.
Right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
so let me bring up an example. So originally, I want to bring an example up that, let me just find one for a second, of a strong video that we can. Okay, here we go. Here, let me share my screen, and then you tell me, Vicki, if your video would be appropriate in this kind of a setting. So here's the dentist's website, and again, the reason why originally and I demo our principles a lot on dentist websites is because we've come to specialize in helping high-end dentists, and so a lot of the examples that you see have to do with the websites. Now, I showed you earlier the other website for Hamilton Lakes. They're in Chicago, and these folks are down south in Alabama, and the layouts are very similar. Don't worry about adopting a template that literally is used by other businesses and so forth, because the second you put your own content in there, it has a completely unique, customized kind of a look, right? When it's your text and your photos and everything else. Okay. So we believe in giving you the smile of your dreams. So here are the dentists. When you scroll down, here's some information about, 50 years in the community, blah, 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 long trusted partner. But now here's my point. Right away, there's a video.
Right.
Okay. And so it's like
It's about the third section down then, isn't it?
right. And if the video is even stronger, and like, for example, I wanted the second panel to be about how they're dedicated to serving their community, because this guy, Dr. Rick, his uncle opened the practice and they've been in the same building for over 50 years. So that's a unique selling proposition that I didn't want to let go of. I wanted to impress people upon that right away. So we believe in in giving you the smile of your dreams. We've been doing it for 50 years, and let's go into how, right? And I'm just going to play 30 seconds of this.
I've always felt like I've had a lot of empathy. I tend to have a easier time seeing where people are coming from. And
so he goes on in his good old boy manner, and it's excellent because authentic is better than polished. He's demonstrating to the community that it's, he's just like them. And then he goes on to talk about how his uncle opened the practice. Let's listen to that.
And then when Dr. Casey came, I was able to start this area. There's no surgeons that come to our town. So most of them would prefer, to get it. A lot of patients will come in and they will say that, they were at another office and they're listening to the patient, what my uncle was practicing since 52. I came in 93. So this is, and I've still got patients that are older now that even, that came to me from my.
Okay. So now the point is this: if you're from this community and you landed here and it looks like a modern site and it's been here 50 years, and now you watch a video and his uncle started it in 1950, whatever, you're sold within the third panel.
Know, like, and trust. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. And so we did that right away. Now there's all kinds of content and proof elements and everything else. But at this point, it's just a matter of scanning, and then you go and you look at this, that, and the other thing, and so forth. Now, tell us about the video that you were talking about, and does it deserve such prominent placement? And if the answer is yes, then you definitely want to do it.
I think it does, because it gives a little snippet of my story, but also the benefits of working with me. So the text on the site is looking at the pain points, and the video looks at the benefits. So I think that's, with what Ridgely said, is having both. I think the video would tick that box. Excellent.
Okay. And so have you already started redesigning your website? You're thinking about it, or where are you in terms of?
I'm thinking about it. There's so much of it that I probably think I want to get rid of because it's not necessary. But yeah, it's one of those that you grow it, and then you go, actually, what can I cut out now because it's not required?
Well, so consider yourself fortunate that you're already in this mind frame, because I'm going to ask Ridgely to kind of recap what has happened. For a lot of people that haven't thought about slimming down their websites, reorganizing it, and getting the old stuff out and the unnecessary stuff out, Google took it upon themselves a month ago to force people to do that. Ridgely, I know we've gone over this a lot, but I see a lot of names on today's call that are new that deserve a recap of this kind of forced cleanup of websites that's been happening. Can you give us a brief on that, please?
Yeah, for sure. So because Google is trying to compete with Elon Musk's Grok, with Sam Altman's ChatGPT, and the other AI engines that you never even hear about, but people are pouring billions of dollars into right now, right? Google needed as much compute power as possible from its data centers. And what happened was it didn't have enough to do both the crawling and indexing of billions and billions of pages and AI further development. So it said, well, what can we do? Oh, I know what we can do. We can eliminate or de-index a whole bunch of pages worldwide, to then free up all that compute power because we don't have to look at those pages anymore. And so I said, okay, great. What are we going to eliminate? We're going to eliminate thin content, duplicated content, templated content, AI only content, but most importantly, overall, we're going to eliminate any content that doesn't give value to a user or a visitor. And that's a lot. And in the old days, it used to be the bigger your website, the better. The more authority you have, the more whatever. But what Google's basically said is, we don't want that anymore. We want you to put your website on a diet and get rid of all the content that is not valuable to the user so that it A, frees up more content from us and it creates more value for the people who visit your site. And so that's what it did. And a great many pages, as in billions of pages, have been de-indexed, and to the point where they exist, but from Google's perspective, they're invisible. What does that mean to us? It means that Google has given us marching orders. It has said, if you want me to rank you well, you need to get rid of the junky content. We don't want thin content. We don't want irrelevant content. We want you to slim down the site and produce only valuable content. And so it's basically rewarding the people who have been doing things right for a long time and penalizing those who are not. And it's going to continue. And I don't see it getting any, I honestly think it's going to get more and more that everybody that has a website needs to have the online presence, needs to have the internet trained in their stuff and done in a way that the customer asks about it. So if you think about it, Vicki, people are lazy, right? Let's get real here for a second. People are lazy. They're going to take the easiest possible approach to do just about anything. So if my thing says Chat GPT right there, I got my Chat GPT, and I'm looking for something, I don't want to type. That's a lot of work, especially on this gizmo here, when all I have to do is hit one button, open up Chat GPT. Now there's a little microphone. I can talk into the microphone and it can look for anything I want. So what does that mean? It means that in the old days, when your business used to come from the form of stressed out CEO or CEO consulting or management or whatever was the term, now it's not going to happen like that. Now it's going to be like this. I am a high-level executive, and I've recently gone through some challenges at work. Some people have told me that it might be good if I had a coach that could help me get through this kind of stuff. I'm looking for a wellness thing, and I want it to all be health-oriented, and that we change basically our mindset in the process. Who do you recommend in London? That's how it's going to happen. It's not going to be stress reduction London. It's not going to be like that because people don't want to type anything. They're just going to go blah, 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 which means that your online presence has to be trained for AI to absorb all of that information and come up with, go visit Vicki Midwood. The addiction eliminated.
And so the opportunity is here that since you're redoing and rewriting your website, you can do it in a way that makes it AI friendly. And over the next few sessions, we'll continue to have more open houses and then like invite everybody to learn the exact techniques. Okay, Kurt's asking a question. Let's just see what he's saying. Once a website has been de-indexed, what has to be done to re-index it? I'll go into that in a second. Would it require registering a new domain name, or can the original domain name be used? So Kurt, the good news is that we've been doing a lot of research on this, and we have multiple websites that not only have we helped them recover the loss of those index pages, we have actually added more in addition. So we'll cover those techniques as well, but all hope is not lost. If you haven't been banned completely and you just got a regular de-indexing of certain pages, there are definitely ways to kind of fix up, combine the content, make the content no longer thin, and so forth. And so that's there's plenty of hope there. So we'll stay tuned for that. So excellent. So Vicki and David, stay on for us for a second, and then Ridgely will tell us when we're meeting next. But come back on camera because you get rewarded with one of my famous dad jokes.
They're horrible, but that's okay. We are meeting.
They're not horrible.
Wednesday the 30th at 1 o'clock Pacific. That is 4 o'clock Eastern time, New York time. So again, 1 o'clock Pacific, 4 o'clock Eastern time. Sorry, 3 o'clock. No. I'm sorry. It's noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Noon Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern time, next Wednesday the 30th.
Okay, awesome. All right, so unmute yourself and let's play along. David, are you there? You
Yep.
want to come back on camera? That's great. Okay, great. All right, so I have a question for each of you. Okay, so David will go first. So David, what do you call a sleeping bull? What do you call a sleeping bull?
I have no idea.
A bulldozer.
Uh,
All right, and
That's
Vicki,
pretty good.
Vicki, how did the dog get all A's on its report card? How did the dog get all A's on its report card?
Don't know, Hubert. You tell me.
It was the teacher's pet.
Oh, wah.
right?
And
Jeez.
originally, I got a good one for you.
I can't wait. I can't wait, really.
What do you call a cheese that isn't yours? What do you call a
Nacho.
cheese? Excellent. Nacho cheese. Excellent.
Bam.
You got
Bada
one.
bing.
You got one. After thousands, you've gotten one.
Okay.
Jim
right,
says
Steve.
our joke telling pal Jim from out west says, "Wow, originally you impressed Jim."
That's it. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy, and we will see you next week as always. All right, team. Ciao for now. Bye.
Wow.